So hello, I'd like to welcome everyone to our third webinar in the Widening Impact Spring 2025 webinar series. So today's webinar will be presented by the Excellence Hub Project Coalition. And our moderator is Dr. Marko Simic. He's from the assistant professor in the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at the University of Ljubljana. He will also be presenting his Excellence Hub project in Otumare next week at the same time. And so at this point, I will pass it over to Dr. Simic. I will also, in the chat, I will post our new webpage. And so you can follow all the updates on our webpage. I'll also be posting our LinkedIn address. So Dr. Simic, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Derek, for this kind introduction. So hello, everyone, on this Widening Impact Spring 2025 webinar series. Today, we will have Mr. Valantis with us, who will present coalition story. As noted as a plan in the first part, of course, we will explore a little bit the background of this proposal, and then led to the coalition concept and the information of the consortium. So this will be followed, of course, by an overview of the proposal development and project execution. So what are the challenges? What are their strengths in the projects? And in the final part, we will focus on the post-project ambition and vision, which is also part of the proposal, let's say a few years after the project ends. So Mr. Valantis, please, we are happy to have you here with us, and we are looking forward to hear your story about the coalition. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Marko, for introducing me. Thank you, Derek, and the whole team for this initiative, to have the opportunity to showcase also our project, which belongs in the same community. Just give me a second to share my screen. Okay. No? Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Give me 1 second to have it in full mode. Okay. Now you should have it in full screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We will have a presentation of the project itself on the subject matter and the technical details. I won't go into too much technical details, and I think then after the presentation we can have a good, hopefully fruitful discussion about the background, how this project started, and how we could capitalize on the project idea and see what kind of synergies we could have in the same region or in regions beyond this geographical and non-geographical area. So the project is how to promote innovation excellence in transformation of coal regions to climate neutral thriving economies. Coal regions or carbon-intensive regions, both are included in the project partnership and both are tackled within the project. So the project started 2 years ago. We have 3 regions which are included in this project. So it is the central part of Romania, it is carbon intensive, Western Macedonia and Greece, which is coal intensive, and southeastern part of Bulgaria, Stara Zagora, which is again carbon intensive. We have 16 project partners, 15 are belonging to the 3 ecosystems, to the 3 place-based ecosystems, plus 1 German partner, which is WIP Renewables, an SME in Munich, which is an expert in renewables and in communication and dissemination activities. So the quadruple helix actors are included in each ecosystem. I won't go into the details of each project partner, but we can discuss it later on. So what is the objective of this project? It is to establish one excellence hub in each region. So it is not one excellence hub on a project level, but one excellence hub in each place-based innovation ecosystem. 3 ecosystems in 3 different geographical regions with a different maturity and technological readiness level, and with a different mindset. So these excellence hubs will be joined by a joint strategy. And as said, the common topic or the common denominator of these excellence hubs is the sustainable energy. So what is sustainable energy? Sustainable energy in the coal transition or carbon-intensive regions. We are talking about energy efficiency, as you see it here on the chart. Energy efficiency, energy from renewables, energy storage, hydrogen, which is a buzzword and a hot topic nowadays, decentralized production, smart energy communities, the decarbonization of energy-intensive industries. Most of these ecosystems have big power plants which are coal-based or fossil fuel-based. And then, of course, we will have also cross-sectoral interventions. So everything from a technical and horizontal point of view. You see here, it is a place-based ecosystem with a different maturity and technology readiness level. We have the quadruple helix approach included, and ideally, we have a bottom-up approach. However, if we look into some details regarding some consultation with policymakers, we could distinguish that it's more vice versa. It's more a bottom-down approach than a bottom-up approach, but I will explain it later on. So still about the project itself and about some technical details. Regional and national strategies are very important in order to define common or joint research and innovation priorities, which will be reflected in the joint strategy. Of course, entrepreneurial discovery processes are very important in either sector. Last week or a couple of weeks ago, we had one here in Greece about the sustainable energy. So a lot of actors were gathered to tackle this problem. And of course, investments are also important, which have to be reflected in this joint research and innovation strategy. Common challenges and objectives of the strategy. Some as a reference point, no details will be mentioned by me. Of course, dependence on fossil fuels, this is something which is the problem description or the baseline. That's why we started elaborating this project, sorry. There is a need, there is a problem. Regions are fossil-based, however, they have to switch to renewables due to the Green Deal and due to the climate change, of course. So dependence on fossil fuels, insufficient RES infrastructure, obsolete electricity network infrastructure, policy and regulatory challenges. So it's not only the hardware, it's also the policy and the regulation around the hardware and the investments. Funding limitations, social and financial hurdles, low public information and participation. And this is another thing. That's why a lot of ecosystems, they have this bottom-down approach. So the decisions are taken centrally by the government and almost imposed to the ecosystems without the community being an active part of the decision-making process. And this is the complaint in often cases. Objectives of the joint R&I strategy, okay, how to accelerate innovation? Well, that's why we built this project. It's a little bit generic, perhaps it's also some kind of poetic or romantic, but we will go further into some details. How to accelerate innovation, how to increase cost effectiveness and to create a competitive advantage, of course. Collaborative approach in addressing complex challenges, networking enhancement, national leadership through regional approach, and policy alignment. So let's go to some technical details. So the priorities of research and innovation in these 3 ecosystems, and we are talking about the joint priorities. here, what is common in these three ecosystems? Of course, it's the energy transition, it's the sustainability and resilience. From renewable energy generation and integration, as said, until energy efficiency and retrofitting of technologies, of course, along with economic growth, social just transition and climate adaptation, from socio-economic research for just transition until climate adaptation and resilience in these energy systems. So let us go and give some examples. So what are these commonalities in excellence, challenges, and gaps? So we are talking about excellence, but we are not sure often that we are excellent in something. So we have to identify what is the good or the strength point in our ecosystems, and to where do we lag behind, and perhaps we can tackle this deficiency from the other ecosystem, which could help us. That's why we have also other activities like innovation missions, or we have like demo projects established where we have this industry academia alliances. So there are some commonalities in excellence. The commitment to renewable energy, for example, or regional collaboration initiatives, or policy support and new funding and energy efficiency improvements. Challenges are there, of course, aging energy infrastructure in all three ecosystems, the hurdles in policy and regulation, financial constraints, and common gaps are like insufficient cross-border integration, lack of skilled workforce for new technologies, energy poverty, and insufficient research and development. Of course, well, these are three ecosystems which mostly collaborate through projects. So if there is a project, then there is a collaboration. If there's no project, or if the project is concluded, then the collaboration often stops. And this is the problem here. That's why we say insufficient cross-border integration. And of course, there's also a demographic problem in all three ecosystems. People, skilled people, are leaving the country or leaving the region. So we have a region which has to switch to new technologies, but the workforce is not prepared to be adapted or to adapt itself to the new technologies. And this is another problem. The joint strategy, it will be accompanied by a joint action plan and a joint investment plan. So this makes sense. Every strategy has an action plan. And what is new here, it's the investment plan, how to attract, for example, multinational companies, large corporates, but also some startups through venture capital funds and other funding opportunities. So it is a proof of concept, let's say, to see how we can perform in our ecosystems, how we can support the regional authorities in attracting new investments, which is not easy in this part of Europe. Going further on, we have established some research and innovation projects, and these are the proof of concepts how the collaboration will function between primarily academia and business partners, and how the quadruple helix approach can decide and opt for some small-scale research and innovation projects which are important for each ecosystem. So we had, let's say, a small competition on an ecosystem level. So each ecosystem had to propose at minimum 3 proposals for small-scale research and innovation projects, and they were evaluated by the other partners which were not participating in the submission. So we used some criteria, and some of these criteria were also the governance component, for example. If the project is very important for the region, for the ecosystem, if it has a strong connection to the regional innovation strategy. And in our case, we concluded 3 projects. So in Bulgaria, we have the twin green and digital wildlife rehabilitation. In principle, it is the establishment of PVs in conservation, in a natural conservation area. So we have to see how we will integrate PVs and renewables into the wildlife and see how it can be integrated in the terrestrial area. The second research and innovation project is in Greece here. So it is the electrification of agriculture using renewables, using PV. And this is a project which was proposed by the regional authority. So it was not proposed by a research organization like CERT. It was proposed by the regional authority, meaning because for the ecosystem, it was very important, first of all, to decarbonize the agricultural production, just to electrify the agriculture. And the second thing is agriculture itself is very important for the region of Western Macedonia, because it's a small area, it's a mountainous area, and we invest a lot in agriculture. So this set is a good example where the quadruple helix approach nicely collaborated and came up with an idea which is very important for the regional authority, for the regional government, and for the regional ecosystem. So, of course, academia and business collaboration is very important because somehow you have to commercialize this idea. You should advance the tier level, which is not easy if we are talking about a project which has a lifetime of 1 year, for example. I'm talking about this specific project and not of the whole project, which is for a 4 years project. So it's just a start on how to commercialize a small scale research project, just a proof of concept of how regional actors can collaborate in order to tackle important topics and to provide solutions for important regional topics. So you see here some nice pictures of our pilot application, the electrification of the agriculture using gas. In principle, it is a container, a closed container, which is mounted or a PV panel is mounted to the container. So there is no direct sunlight emission into the vertical system, which you see, which is based on hydroponics. So there are some LED lights installed. The PV is electrifying the LED lights. We have a battery, a small LED battery, which is storing electricity. And in cases where it is not sufficient, the solar radiation is not sufficient, the battery is being used, or we use just power from the grid in order to electrify the LEDs, which further contribute to the photosynthesis of the agricultural production. So the good thing is we expect higher yields because we are still in the research phase. We expect better resource efficiency, and this is the state of the art. Efficient land use because you have a closed container, closed system. You can install it in urban areas, you can install it in rural areas, you can install it whatever, even in on your rooftop. You have high photosynthetic efficiency through these LED lights, and you have, of course, year-round production and reduction of the carbon footprint. So these are the good things. The bad things are that it is a system which has a high capital cost, and we have to see from a techno-economic point of view how to tackle the whole investment. The research plan itself is not so important. I won't go into the details. Let me go very quickly to the application in Romania. So in Romania, we have a system which uses thermal energy storage in solar organic ranking cycles, meaning hot water is produced. And this hot water is stored in environmentally friendly media like water, sand, or PCM, phase change materials. And then the thermal energy is transformed into electricity through this ORC, through this organic ranking cycle. So this is a good example where we can tackle the power shortcut or the power the lack of storage in power through the conversion from thermal into electricity. And the last one, as said, it is the integration of the PVs into the natural habitat. You see here a parking lot in Bulgaria at a zoo, which has these PVs and some kind of monitoring and Internet of Things platforms, which will be used in order to monitor and to optimize the efficiency of the whole system. But not only that, in order to see how it can be integrated into the nature, into the terrestrial habitats. So more or less, this concludes the technical part of the project. As said, it's a project to establish in each ecosystem, in each place-based ecosystem, an excellence hub through a coordinated way, meaning a joint strategy, which is accompanied by a joint action plan and investment plans. The proof of concept are 3 different research and innovation projects, which have been selected during the project implementation phase by the quadruple helix actors based on their regional priorities. And now we're talking about the deficiency of workforce, how to build capacities for the new workforce or for the workforce which is affected, which most probably will lose its job, or and has to skill, to upskill, or to reskill itself. So we have started with some kind of service here, some kind of workshops regarding soft skills and technical skills. Soft skills, how to establish our own business, which is very important, to boost entrepreneurship, perhaps through startups. So we have we have some classes, we have some workshops delivered, which are common in the 3 ecosystems: innovation management, for example, entrepreneurship, how to commercialize processes. As said, we have small-scale research and innovation processes which have to be commercialized and upscaled later on, digital toolkits, and energy transition. And then we have technical skills, and you see here people in the laboratories, in our pilots. You see people which are gathered around an e-vehicle, an electro-vehicle. So we have technical skills in the areas of land restoration, which is very important because the land here is so far used for open pit mining, to extract coal and lignite for the power generation. But as soon as the power plants are closed, and they are closed, you have somehow to restore the land. And it is important for people to see how to restore this land. So we teach people regarding land restoration, innovative growing methods, and carbon farming. And this is another example how we can collaborate and establish synergies with other projects. And this is the Carbonica project here, another project of the community, which will also participate, as I saw, in the widening webinars. Electromobility and energy storage and batteries, of course. So we established these workshops. These were workshops of 1 day duration, of course. It's just a teaser. It's just attracting people and convincing people to know us better and to know the subject matter better, because you can't compete in 1 day with a curriculum given by a university. This is not possible, and this is not our aim to compete with universities which have 2 years curriculum and issue also a certificate after the studies. So it's just to attract people in a meaningful way, people who will come and have some questions and are really interested in new ways of making profit and in new ways of making a living. So in principle, in simple terms, this is what we wanted to do with these capacity building activities. The innovation missions, these are missions which conclude the project. And these are organized visits to companies which are active in each ecosystem, in each hub. Companies which have an affiliation to the sustainable energy, to sustainable solutions, and or companies which have the need for sustainable solutions. So it's a win-win situation, or it should be a win-win situation. So we go to 10 companies in the ecosystem and have a one-to-one discussion with them, how to enhance or how to propose some sustainable solutions, to have this transition potential, and to find or to discuss about future investment opportunities. And in this sense, also there is already some kind of collaboration with other projects, with Reframe, for example, which we're grateful acknowledge at this case here, Carbonica project. So we will have a closer discussion with them and see how we could benefit either way, and how some companies, perhaps also in the Solar Hub, it's not only the Carbonica, it's also the Solar Hub. We have discussed with the Greek partners, with South, and also with the other Greek partners, the greenhouses, how to make their visit, how to discuss there, because we have a project here, they have a project there, and perhaps we can have some complementarities or see how we can tackle some deficiencies. So this is in a nutshell the whole story, how we set up and how we implement this project. It's just a technical point of view from a technical perspective, no reference to work packages, no reference to guns, just the essence, hopefully. And now I think we can discuss about what is interesting to the audience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Valentis. I forgot to mention that all the participants can also put any kind of questions into the chat channel, or you can just raise your hand and ask directly here. And I will definitely give the first questions to the audience, to the participants, if there is any questions related to this nice and interesting project. So please raise your hands or just turn on your microphone and give a question. Okay, Derek?
Yes, thanks a lot for the really interesting presentation. I see a lot of synergies with lots of different other excellent sub projects. And so to me, this is all really, really nice to start seeing these synergies. Also for the audience, you should have the ability to open up your camera and open up your mic. If not, let me know and I'll try changing the settings, but you should have those capacities right now. And so I've been doing a lot of thinking about our own training of our workforce for the soft skills. And you talked about the workshops that you're given on the soft skills. I'm curious, are you giving different workshops to each Excellence Hub? Or is it one common workshop where you bring everyone together? What is the local language? Are you using English or the language? And just provide a little bit more information about your strategy for how you're approaching these.
Yep. Well, the thing is, these workshops, they came up through a needs assessment. So we had some kind of service in each ecosystem, and each ecosystem defined some hot topics, some topics of interest. So we picked the common, the topics which are of common interest. Hydrogen, I said, hydrogen, for example, is common. Electromobility is common. So it's not difficult to respond to the ecosystems because we have a lot of commonalities there. The workshops, of course, there was an activity leader which was responsible either for the soft skills or for the technical skills. And the material which was prepared by the activity leader was attuned or fine-tuned or adapted to each ecosystem needs. So there was a guidance document from the activity leader, and of course the material was translated. It does not make much sense if you go to Greece with an English presentation and you have people there which want technical skills. So everything should be in local language, and it should limit the project language as much as possible. Because we had some kind of registration, which is very beneficial. You saw the profile of the people a couple of days before the workshop, and then you tried to adapt yourself and to adapt the material and the focus points to the audience you had. So this is in a nutshell the approach.
Any other questions or maybe raised hands? Otherwise, I will definitely ask. Hande, please.
Thank you very much for the insightful presentation. You've mentioned the focus on the quadruple helix actors, and I was wondering, especially with the three main regions that you are aiming for, were there any commonalities in showing resistance in either the quadruple helix actors, and any suggestions to overcome and to align all of these actors for better impact? Thank you so much.
Well, resistance, I'm not sure if resistance is the appropriate wording. Well, collaboration is key, and collaboration is not easy. If we are talking about the quadruple helix actors and the quadruple helix approach. So you have a different perspective from various people and from various actors of the same thing. So sustainable energy is not the same thing if you are talking about a regional authority, which is most probably interested in some kind of results and some kind of KPIs and job creation, for example, just a stupid example. And sustainable energy is not the same thing for a research organization, which is perhaps not so much interested in the research results or the outputs or how many jobs we are creating. It's just the research in order to commercialize something. So it's the path important. So, so you have together people with various backgrounds. Some have a very technical background. Some others are just into policies, and some others are the laymen who don't know about either. And you have together various people with a different background, with a different interest, and you have to see what common language you can speak in this direction. So as said, project language is something we won't use. So we will focus just on the way how to conclude or how to reach the outputs and the results. And this was the thing we did here in Greece, and this is what the Romanian and the Bulgarian partners also do. But as said, these ecosystems often ecosystems are not used to have this quadruple helix approach to combine various interests and various backgrounds. That's why we have established this this project, and I think also the program is aware that it's not so easy.
Thank you very much. I hope you are satisfied with this answer, Hande. Maybe I can also
George?
ask. Oh, George is here. Okay, thank you.
George from the same organization.
Yeah, but I raised it after you, so please ask your question, and I will follow, Marco.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So for me, it's quite interesting that you have approach to establish really individual excellence hubs in each ecosystem, in each country. That's why we were talking about these, let's say, issues or limitations in Romania, Bulgaria, and so on. So it's, I think it's a quite good approach.
It's a complex approach, if I may add.
Yeah,
it's a complex because you have the regional context, which is different in each ecosystem, and then you have also some joint components, not some joint. The joint component is what we are seeking for. So, and this is the complexity.
And you also propose this approach at the beginning of the project proposal, or you defined it during the project?
It was proposed during the proposal submission. So during the proposal submission, it was clear that we will have 3 excellence hubs, which will identify commonalities and complementarities, and see how each ecosystem can assist the other ecosystem in deficiencies, but also in strengths, for example, to mutually learn from each other. This is the principle.
Yeah. So you actually have the strategy to stay connected between these excellence hubs, or let's say to provide some joint results, solutions that can be used in each excellence hub later on. That's really good. That's really good. And maybe one of my question is also what was how you actually involve those partners, because we all know that societal actors are quite challenging to be integrated in terms of what they are doing, what will be their impact on the projects, how to integrate those events in the popularization, promotion, connection to the citizens, and so on. How do you approach this, or how do you involve actively these actors in your ecosystems? Maybe a few details.
Well, this is another interesting question. Societal actors are important, especially if we are talking about regions which have to invest in a new kind of renewable, in a new kind of power generation. And this is very dominant here in Western Macedonia. It's also dominant in the other ecosystems, meaning in the beginning of my presentation, I said ideally it should be a bottom-up approach, meaning quadruple helix actors gather and discuss how to build a strategy in order to promote effectively the renewables and their ecosystem, in order to have a balance in between social, environmental, and economic benefits. And this is not really working. So in our case, and I speak for the Greek case, it's not a bottom-up, it's a bottom-down approach. So the decisions are taken in small countries like Greece, and I think it's the same thing also in Slovenia. Decisions are taken centrally from the government, from the central government, and almost imposed, let's say, almost imposed. So people are not really participating, especially the community and the affected community. And we see here a lot of big, huge mega projects installing mega PV parks, which are not really integrated into the nature. So if we are talking about a balance between profit and social, societal components and environmental, so this is not working, and that's why we need the NGOs and the society to raise their voice, and this is what they do as much as they can, because they don't have always the power, or they don't have always the power to influence the policy making, which has its own decisions already taken.
Thank you very much. I will give the opportunity to George right now. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, as Valandis said, I also come from the same organization, from CERT. As CERT, we also participate in the Solar Hub project, as some of you or most of you already know. So my question would be, and without trying to, stimulate some kind of an additional complexity and complication and all that, but I see so many commonalities, not only with Solar Hub, potentially with other Excellence Hub projects. So I would like to openly place the question/comment here, if it's actually worth of, trying to co-organize some common activities together in the framework of all those, training events or skilling, reskilling, bringing people and interested stakeholders closer to our approaches and concepts, perhaps involving some partners from some excellence hub projects that are more strong in the societal actor, for example. Some others, I suppose, are stronger in terms of the engagement of industrial partners and all that. So if I know it's complicated and I know it takes a lot of effort, probably, but essentially, if we consider that every project may have their own strong points in terms of organizations, category of organizations involved, perhaps if we carefully design something together, a common action, we could combine, let's say, the best of all worlds and have an even increased impact, magnify our impact as individual projects, which I suppose is also one of the main goals of organizing these webinars and mainly Derek's initiative to bring us all together. So, yeah, I don't know if it's a question or a suggestion or a comment, but I was wondering if we could, at least as a pilot case, co-organize some common events together and see how it goes. If this adds to the value of our individual projects, and then perhaps this can, stimulate more common events of brainstorming. Because we need to connect somehow. I mean, that's why in the first place all these webinars were organized and scheduled. Perhaps
George,
this is a good opportunity.
Yep. Yeah. George, if I may answer from my part. Well, yes, we have started already, and this is not only within the Horizon framework, it's also within other projects framework, like Interreg Euromed, for example. So we will go to Thessaloniki in May, and we will have also solar hubs there, because the topic of our event organized in Thessaloniki is agri-PVs or agriculture, for example, just an example. And then we have in April the big event in Thessaloniki. And then in Yanina in June or July, I can't remember. So this is a good starting point. Not only these events, it's also the innovation missions. As said, we will come to you and we will discuss face-to-face more in a more concise and detailed way. This is what we can do on an individual level. What we can do as a project or what we can do between two projects. This is something I think Derek or Marco could further analyze or elaborate a little bit on.
So I can just say that I think you summarized this very, very well. We have these initial steps, these pilots, where there's the International Conference for Renewable Energy Systems at Thessaloniki, I think next month. And so the goal will be to bring at least together the Solar Hub, the Coalition, and the Carbonica Excellence Hub projects, and the ECHO, which all have actors in Thessaloniki. We have the event in Yanina, which is focused on like energy communities in the agricultural regions, and this will be in July. And so I see all of these as first steps. And as George said, I see this as pilots. We'll try it, we'll see what works and find out what doesn't work, and then to see how to move forward. But also, as George said, this is ultimately one of my main motivations for doing the webinar series is to bring us together, because I do see huge synergies where we can come together and we can engage and collaborate and create a lot of value.
I think all of us totally agree. And a lot of people are raising their hand.
Yeah, okay, we have Gidik, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have 3 questions, but please feel free to interrupt me if anyone else has a question. To put my all questions into context, first I will introduce myself a bit. Currently, I'm doing my PhD in RWTH Aachen University in Germany, and I am from Turkey. So I have both experiences with the widening country and also like Germany. Let's put it that way. I would like to start by asking about skilled labor definition, because in most of the project presentations we hear the definition of skilled labor a lot. And also I took my time to check your Cordis webpage, and there are 3 different definitions: local workforce, capacity building, and skill development. I wonder if you also include researchers, PhDs, postdocs, more of the research and development part in this skilled workforce definition.
Okay, well, it's very tricky to gather people as said. It's not only the quadruple helix approach, it's also the people who are expressing interest to participate in skills development activities. So in our case, it was a more generic, as said, it was a one-day event. It was a more generic focused, or the information provided was more generic, in order to address and to reply and to answer a very general and non-technical questions. So it depends. It depends on the audience, first of all, and it depends also on the interest. So there was not a standardized or harmonized approach. As said, we had this registration, we saw the profile of each participant, and then we adapt the language to his supposed needs, let's say. In order to address some kind of technical skills, which will be further interesting, which could be interesting for PhD and for the academia, this is something we should discuss on a one-to-one, on a more individualized approach. Well, we had a lot of people here, a lot of people who were interested. It was a quantitative approach, not a qualitative approach. We did not have here 50 people for each workshop. This was not possible. So it was just few people, but people who had real interest. So it was public servants, for example, who were interested in land reclamation, for example, because in their job, they come into contact with this field. Or it was, for example, a greenhouse owner who had specific questions regarding how to optimize his greenhouse using renewables, or perhaps using a vertical system or whatever. And they had specific technical questions mostly, and these could be answered that day. But it was not, as said, a standardized approach to have a very high level of technical content, or a very high level of a more holistic approach.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Can I continue with my second question?
Please,
Yes.
it's also addressed to me or to the others?
To you again.
Okay.
Okay. You mentioned the whole project is about decreasing the coal dependency. I also want to revisit coal dependent definition. In northern Western Germany, the region is highly dependent on coal, but not only for power production. Also, the economic activity here is coal mining, and it has been historically like this. So there's economic activities developed around coal, power production developed around coal, and also the culture, like the society is developed around coal. And I wonder, in your case, it's also including the coal mining, or the coal dependency is only related to producing electricity?
Yes, it is the second. The latter is the fact, at least here in Greece, and I think also in Bulgaria. As said, the Romanian part is carbon intensive. Well, coal was used here in Greece mainly for power generation and for thermal power, or for the district heating systems, which are existent in 3 cities. So you use the coal, it's low quality coal. It's not compared to the hard coal in Germany, for example. So it's a poor fossil fuel. It was used for power generation, and from this power or from the steam produced, a small part was going for heating residents through the district heating. So that's it and nothing more. The coal was perhaps used in some kind of residence in a small number of residents for heating purposes, but no sophistication was included there. So there was no economic benefit other than power generation, let's say.
Okay.
I know.
Thank you so
I
much.
think in Germany they used during the World War, for example, also coal for the steel production, or they used. So for the very heavy industry, they used also the coal there. But in this area here, the heavy industry is just power generation and nothing more. So
Okay.
no steel, no cement, no automotive industry or whatever. The culture, sorry, you said also about the culture. Well, the culture is that from the societal point of view, well, in every family there's at least one who is working or was working either in the power plants or in some subcontractor who was involved in the power generation or in the mining. And there were a lot of people, everyone had at least one family member there. So this is the culture, or this was the culture. The people worked there. They had also higher salaries than the usual ones, than the average ones. And this all triggered the whole ecosystem and the economy, the local or regional economy.
Okay. I have a follow-up question. So my questions will be four, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Very quickly. Also, in your research projects, the three of them you showed, none of them are related to retrofitting the coal power plants or revalorizing them.
How easy? Well, you make a point here. So how easy is this to retrofit a big power plant through a very small project where a quadruple helix approach is implied? This is another question. Perhaps if we communicate this to the quadruple helix members, perhaps we would have something regarding retrofitting, but retrofitting is something which is not cheap. And it's, well, from a techno-economic point of view, it's not easy. So that is why you have, let's say, a simple or easy solution how to decarbonize. It's still decarbonization. It's not the decarbonization of the industry, but it's the decarbonization of the agricultural production, for example, through this kind of small scale applications. Because don't forget, you had a limited budget to set up this proof of concept, the research and innovation project.
Sure. This question was for my own interest, considering the transition phase of this region in Germany. Retrofitting would be a part of the solution. So I just wanted to get an insight from your side.
Please have also in mind that these projects here are not really research oriented. These are CSA, meaning support and
coordination and support.
Lapsus, sorry. Sorry. Yes. So research is really limited in budget terms and also in timely limited.
Yeah.
Okay.
My last question, I promise. The last question.
No, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that we have this kind of interest. Really, it's the added value of the webinar.
My last question is more technical about organic Rankine cycle and thermal energy storage system. I'm also working on concentrated solar power. So I completely understand the tendency to go to low temperatures. It's something that I have also in mind in terms of flexibility, in terms of tackling with material. And there are thousands of advantages maybe. Also, the storage media is easy to handle. I understand all the points. But on the other hand, I wonder how you see the situation with organic Rankine cycle, low efficiencies, maybe the economic results.
A good question. Low efficiencies, yes, you're right. How to commercialize this concept, this idea? This is something I can't answer because it's not our responsibility. So either the Romanian partners could answer here, or George, who has experience with solar thermal power. I'm not sure. Marco, you have raised your hands. You have the solution. Do you have the answer to this question?
Not really, but I would like to suggest to interconnect personally, since we have somehow a limited time, but we are very happy that so many questions are rising here from the participants. This is a really good opportunity. But anyway,
it's the best way. I totally agree.
Yeah, anytime we can connect, we can send an email, have some additional online meeting, which is nowadays a common thing to have online meetings. It's an easy thing. And I would like to really, maybe if you agree, Mr. Valantis, to conclude this session, and thank you to all, to you, to your team, to participants. I think we have a really good discussion, really good presentation, and interesting projects. I also have a lot of questions regarding the technical part about the pilot project, but anyway, we will be in contact also for this part later on, because we are doing very similar things that are interesting in terms of energy consumption, energy management, and so on. And I would like to have this opportunity to all the participants, since Solar Hub, Collision, and those kind of projects are very similar within the topics also. So welcome also to the next webinar, which will be presented by us, by Project Innotumare, and I must say, we have a little bit different approach. You will see we are more focused also on the research and innovation technologies, and building a capacity around and attracting a community around this, let's say, interesting research and innovation. But anyway, you will see. So welcome on 4th of March, within next week.
4th of April, you mean?
No, March. Next week.
Next week. Sorry.
Yeah, we have the next webinar next week on Friday at the same time, 10 o'clock Central European time, and I hope we also have a good discussion. So thank you also to Derek, who organized all these events. And I think this is really a good opportunity to have these kind of webinars, really, to make some synergies and so on. So thank you very much, and I hope see you in huge numbers next week.
So thank you. I will note that I put in the link to our webpage, and so you can register for next week's webinar at the webpage. So thank you again, Marco, for moderating, and for Valentis for giving the webinar, and we will see you next week. So have a good week. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks a lot. Bye.